What's happening, people? What's crack-a-lackin', as they sometimes say? It is Monday, September 18th. Cheers. I already took a sip. It's a little strong today. I don't like it too strong, but I like it strong. Just a little strong today. So I'm glad my sisters are back home in Floyd. They had apparently a really good weekend in Marceline, Missouri. And what a small world it is. It turns out that they went to some kind of dinner related to this Walt Disney event and were seated at a table with, it turns out, with people that I know from Omaha. Matt Mason, the state poet. My sisters said, "Do you know Matt Mason?" And the next thing you know, they say, "Hey, we're sitting with him." And, it's a small world. I love that. Do I regret not going and being with them over the weekend? No, I did not want to drive. Wanted to see them, but they had a good time, and so I'm glad they did. I, on the other hand, had what you can call a date, where I agreed to meet someone for coffee, a woman that I met at the RAF show who is friends with me on Facebook, but I had never met her before. And we got to talking at the RAF show, and she's an art type, about my age, a survivor, and I could tell that she needed someone to talk to. So when she reached out to me after the show and said, would you want to continue that conversation? I said, sure, because a lot of times people invite me. Say, let's go for coffee. Let's get together, and I'll say, invite me. I'm not going to invite you. No, it's just the way I am. And most of the time, nothing ever happens, which is fine with me. So it was a good time. It was a good conversation. The woman has some connections to the New York scene. People like Zena Parkins and John Zorn. She's worked with those people. Is there something going on here? No. And it was a real good reminder, she's close to my age. And so what was real nice is it was not a lot of bullshit. And when it needed to be discussed, it's like, I'm single, honey. I'm here talking to you. You're interesting, and I can tell you're a tough lady. I like strong people. So that was good. And it was nice to get out and socialize. Afterwards, we went to the record store. I bought a couple things, and she bought a couple things. Now, this is really, it never came up in the conversation, but she ends up buying a couple CDs, and one of them is by Clifton Chenier, the Zydeco King, his son, CJ Chenier, who is the Zydeco King now. I played a gig with him, and I just thought, well, isn't that something, What's the likelihood that she'd buy something by someone that I've actually worked with? So when I caught up with her at the counter, because we went our separate ways, I said, shit, I played a gig with this guy, and then told her the story how I was hired to play bass for him at a private party. I never played Zydeco before, so he had to give me a quick lesson in the rhythm, how to play the rhythm. I apparently got it down because afterwards he said, "You want to go on tour?" So I'll show my records, but no one prompted me. We lost someone in the music community that's very important to me, and in the groups that follow this particular vein of music, which is very important to me, Canterbury. No one mentioned it to no prompts. But John Marshall passed away. He was the last drummer in Soft Machine. Some of you might remember, I got this not that long ago, their latest album, Other Doors. And I commented about John Marshall's playing and how I can hear the feebleness, I mean, I think it was Michael Dawson who told me that he saw him play live and that he was pleased that John Marshall's stamina was there. But on the record here, I said something. It's like it wasn't a surprise to me his passing, but of course it's a sad. But I want to share. Okay, see, because I didn't get out a whole bunch of records. If I can just grab. So. Come on, is that it? Yep, there it is. Okay. So when he replaced Robert Wyatt, this is my soft machine copy from high school. I've had this since high school, 1972 or 3 when this came out. That's when I bought it. That's the copy here. So this was the last album that Robert Wyatt made with Soft Machine. I love this album. All instrumental, heading straight into jazz. Their next album, to me as a fan, was a big disappointment. Soft Machine 5. This is the first album that John Marshall plays drums on. And it was a huge disappointment at the time because there's no way to replace Robert Wyatt. Robert Wyatt's drumming style was very unique, and his singing as well, and his personality, But I settled into John Marshall, and so he's on the rest of the Soft Machine records. This is a really good one here, Bundles. A real good one here. Ellen Holdsworth is on here. But I wanted to share that for my history, I was introduced to John Marshall's playing knowingly through Jack Bruce. Songs for a Tailor. This is another one of my albums that goes back to my childhood. There's my name. Now you're seeing my roots here. I don't know that I've shown these. Jack Bruce, very important. Jack Bruce is the reason why I play bass. Jack Bruce freaked my little preteen mind out when I heard Cream. Sorry about the camera. You pay more and you expect better, and overall, I like that old camera better. I got really used to it. I still have it, and I just might facetiously break it out again, because and I just adjusted the brightness. Anyway, I love this album, Songs for a Tailor. Chris Spedding on guitar. Jack Bruce is another person you always know it's him, not by the equipment or by the bass, but how he plays. He mashes the bass. That's what I learned to do. That's why I'm in the Hall of Fame here in Nebraska for my bass playing. There's a lot of bass players better than me, technically, but I know how to smash. When it's time to rock, I know how to rock. And when it's time to be cool, I know that too. I got that from Jack Bruce. He's my original inspiration. Again, going back to my teen years, this one 1973. Harmony Row. I'm trying to find the dates. Yeah, 73. That's one of again, we talked about aging. I had to run quick to the bathroom. 1971. See, these records go back to my youth. This album had such an impact on me that I wrote it in my journal of the time. Maybe I was 16. The song, Folk Song, it used to just touch me. It's not the words, it's the way it's the music, it's Jack's voice. I wrote that I want this played at my funeral. Of course, I don't feel the same way now, but that's how it felt. With my teenage full of angst self. Very important. John Marshall's drums are important there. Let me see before I say. Okay. I don't think he's on this one. But I love Jack Bruce. Out of the Storm, I grabbed that one too. But another album that John Marshall plays drums on that is really good is Septober Energy by Centipede. The big, the big rock orchestra that Keith Tippett put together, and everybody and their mother is on here. A lot of folks from what we call the Canterbury scene, that soft machine axis of musicians. This is heady piece of work. Heady piece of work. So rest in peace, John Marshall. Bless him. It's got just a little bit of bite, but it's still good. So I'm glad so many people watched the clip of me playing the song Key, which is available now on my latest CD. That show, Essential Festival, was recorded, I think, in 2022 or 21. Back when COVID was still happening, I had to do the show with a television crew, but no audience. I still got into it, as you see. Back then, the song Key was a contender for my album Future Still. It was almost on that album, and it didn't make the cut. So I wanted to make sure to get it on this, the follow-up. And get this, people. Come on now. It's brand new to me, so if you get tired of me talking about it, there's nothing I can do. It's new. So that reminds me of something else that Stephen Wilson, Mr. Porcupine Tree, said in his interview. I like Steve. I'd like to meet him. Almost met him twice. But he said, anymore, people's attention spans are super short. And when a new record comes out, you're lucky if you get people to remember it or continue thinking about it for 48 hours. And I thought to myself, that's not an exaggeration, because there's just a steady flood of information, a steady flood of releases. And so you forget and you move on to the next thing. So I'm not going to apologize for talking about my music and how excited I am about this new album of mine. I wish that it was on vinyl. And I'm not going to pursue putting it on vinyl, because that will mean it will be next year. Probably this time next year that it would appear. So it's here now, and get it. But rest in peace, John Marshall. In other related news that I wanted to speak about, so among other bands that I've been in, I've mentioned this. I was in the band Sun Ambulance, part of the Saddle Creek coterie. This is that split he did. Joe, he's the main guy with Sun Ambulance. Joe did this with Bright Eyes, split. He was also in Bright Eyes for a while. And I joined, and I'm on this album, the last Sun Ambulance album. This is probably the last one that he'll make. But Joe is active again. He did a show this weekend with his new band, and I wasn't involved. Sun Ambulance is over. I'm happy that Joe feels like playing again, but when I was playing with him, he kept saying that. It's like, for me, it's not about being a musician. I want to do stuff with my friends and sit around and make music. And I attempted to do that with Joe after I'd come back from Europe, and kept going with him. But it became really obvious that I'm not part of Joe's inner circle, and I'm not like him. So it was just a slight bit of jealousy that when I saw that he was playing, and also Dereck Presnell has not a new band, but his old side project is back. And they played a show just blocks away from me, actually up here on 40th Street. I still haven't even gone to the place, But then I had to say to myself, well, I'm really not part of their circle. I've played music with them. I consider them friends, but I don't hang out. And these people like to hang out and bunch together and do shit. And I don't. So I'm not playing with them. And that's fine, but at the same time, it brings up those feelings. George Clinton played in Omaha last night. Someone got a hold of me and said, "You going?" I said, "No. Not paying. I've seen George Clinton, met him. This person thought for sure I would go to that. But people don't know me, you know. I got respect, but no. I plan to go to Swans tomorrow. Michael Gyra and Swans are here tomorrow night. But why am I going to Swans but not to George Clinton in Funkadelic? Because I get to go to the show for free. I'm on the guest list for Swans. Hell yes, I like that. I have Swans records. Do I play them very often? No. There was a period when they were being shown on MTV, and they had this song called Saved with Jarbo. That's about my favorite era of Swans. They're good. When I saw them live, it was intense and fantastic live, but it's not the sort of thing you play that I play a lot. It's got a lot of angst. That's the word, angst. So, what am I doing with these extra records? Okay, so apparently I did go to the record store, and I'm kind of, oh, I did. So I'll go with what I bought at Homer's first yesterday, because I only bought one record, and I was hoping there would be some buried treasure in the used, like it is sometimes. There was nothing, not a single record. So I bought one new album, the new Sigur Rós album, Ata. Love that cover. Interesting, you know. I wonder what the symbolism is, or if there is any, about that rainbow flag or whatever it is burning. Interesting image. Now check it out. I have Sigur Rós. Don't play them much, but when I'm in the mood, I really like them. And they're great on psychedelics. They are. I was really surprised. This is really good. And it's not the same old sound. Love that color. There can be a sameness to their records. I think when they stopped playing, that was part of it. It's like, well, we're just repeating ourselves. So when I bought this, because there was nothing else in the store that I really wanted, I thought to myself, okay, I'll get the new Sigur Rós. Yeah, I really like this. Played it all the way through, all four sides. Also, made the mistake of starting to play it at 33. It's a 45. The first track works at either speed. It was the second track when he starts to sing. It's like, oh, this is beautiful. And it's really nice cut, because their music is quiet. I was mentioning to you how I recently bought the new Brian Eno instrumental. It's on clear vinyl and it's noisy. It's not because of the clear vinyl, it's how it's manufactured and all that stuff. This is dead quiet. Beautiful pressing. I love that cover. So that's what I bought at Homer's. But it turns out that the day or 2 days before, I misspoke. I forget. Okay. So the deal was, I was out doing errands, had to go to the bank, and so I took copies of this down to Grapefruit to put in the store. And of course, while I'm there, oh, that's it, okay. It was double. See, I'm getting my mind together here. So I saw their used update. They don't do used updates on Instagram regularly like Homer's does. I like that Homer's does it almost every day. But in their update of used for the weekend, I saw something that made me say, well, I'll go. If it's still there, I'll get it. It might not be, because they don't hold records at Grapefruit. I understand. They do not hold. Even if you say you're coming down, they said, we don't hold. I understand that. So I did double duty. I took CDs down for the store, and thankfully the records that I was after were still there. There was 2 of them. I've never owned this. Bad Brains, Finally got it on vinyl. Very important album. PMA, Positive Mental Attitude. These guys are truly pioneers of fast, hardcore punk. I just got to see them live. I missed out on smoking with them. My good friend Rich, who passed away a few years ago, was their connection. He got the weed for him. I just missed out on that, damn it. Would have loved to have met the guys. But they played so hard that the stage that was rented for the show, they broke it up. They jammed so hard they made this. See, look at this. This next one, I'm going to put that auto white balance off again because it's doing this stuff. There's all yellow here. It's all yellow again. It was an amazing show. They were incredible. The energy was palpable. It was incredible. So I can put these two things together. I'm pretty sure that's what they were saying. The opening act last night for George Clinton and Funkadelic was George Porter, who used to be in the Meters. I picked this up yesterday, the new Jackpot reissue of this album, Struttin', with Chicken Strut. Whenever I hear that intro where the guy is faking like he's a chicken, I'll never forget the first time I heard that as a kid. It was like, whoa, what is this? And it was like, and then they launch into the Chicken Strut funk. Monster funk. So anyway, if I got this right, George Porter, the bass player for the Meters, was the opening act. And someone got a hold of me on Facebook and said, you want tonight? You going to go see George Porter? I said, no. They said, well, you want to see George Porter? I said, we have a mutual friend. So I have never hung out with George, but I feel like I know the connection. I didn't feel the need to go see him play. Would have been nice to say hello. But the Meters, I got that. And the other used album that I was hoping they still had was this, Vespertine by Björk. This is back 2001. This is back when I was really into her. This is one of my favorites by her. And the one just before this, with kind of a silvery cover, this is fabulous. This is a reissue, recent reissue. It's a wonderful album, and it's really delicate, and it's not a repeat. It's not an album where she's repeating herself. She really doesn't do that. It's just she can only do so much with her voice that after a while it all starts to kind of sound a bit samey to my ears. That's all I'm saying about the album's fantastic. So while I was there, they got me. Grapefruit gets me, They get what I'm interested in. I had not noticed this in the store before, so I grabbed it. Jack's Vacant World. This is a reissue. This is an early rock and roll band from Japan. Kind of historically of interest to me, because when I got home and played this, I couldn't remember if I'd ever heard the Jacks. This has a historical significance for me. Probably won't play it probably at all. But when I saw it, I said, this is something that interests me. Beautiful tip-on jacket. I love those heavy, glossy, heavy. That's what I'd like for my next vinyl, as I'd like a deluxe. I've never had a personal gatefold. I'd like a gatefold. I'd love a heavy tip-on jacket. I'd love that. But this was like, yeah, it needs to go in the collection. And the last thing I bought, I've been meaning to get this for a while, Witch's second album, Lazy Bones, the Zambian African rock band from the 70s. Again, the word is correct. Pioneers. I understand they were the first Zambian band to commercially release a rock album. And this is a rock band from Africa, and a good one. Now you can tell that the recording equipment that they had was minimal. And so it's not high fidelity, but the band is really good. And it's like you can hear that they're a rock band. Everything from Led Zeppelin influences to Cream to even Grateful Dead sounding riffs. And I couldn't pass up this reissue on this beautiful, that's my color. It's orangey. I was also fascinated with orange as a boy because it's always been an intense color that I find attractive, and yet also like that really bright lime green color that you'll see in chemicals. I remember that as a kid, where you would see like in truck yards and uh, you know waste outside of factories that used to be here, where you'd see chemicals and they'd smell funny, and there'd be parts of the chemicals that would be real bright and orangey, but deadly. I've always found that interesting. So that's what's up with me. We're heading up to a half an hour. I'm going to go ahead and stop. I do have some orders from the weekend that I'm going to go and mail off. Folks, let's just try to again rally around each other and be kind to one another. When I go out, I don't go out of my way, but I am kind to people. And when there is a moment to connect to people around me in the store, waiting in line or something, and I'm just there, and it seems like an appropriate thing to say a kind word, I do. It's sorely needed. It's sorely needed. Okay. Have a good Monday. Talk to you later.